Mesdames and messieurs, a cordial welcome to the Dust Pit. You know who I am, I know who you are, and above all, I know why you are here today. Because you want to see a fight! 4 battles, 4 victories. But can the Prophet also oppose the beast that's been soaking this soil in blood for decades? We shall see. Unleash the beast!
Let's see you dance, Prophet.
What?
What do you want? Bran Marash's home for lost kittens. Honestly, if you need to ask, then you sure as fuck don't belong here. Go back to your bathing houses and galleries, sunchild. Ooh, how eloquent. You're from the surface, aren't you? No, don't say anything, I can tell. No cave dweller gets that much sun on his pretty face. So, you want to fight, huh? You're an arcanist, aren't you? That look in your eyes, the constant twitching of your fingers. Oh, I can tell. Well, why not? Been a while since someone threw fireballs through the pit. You do know that we're not doing tumbles down here, right? If you fight well, you can make a lot of money fighting here. But if you don't, well, you can imagine. Usually, yeah. Sometimes the loser pleads for mercy, but the crowd doesn't like it. Oh, sure. Sometimes they even come down here and read us quotes from the verses. Jokes aside, I couldn't care less about what the Order does or doesn't know. Down here, the rules are different. Well, for what it's worth, I don't particularly enjoy seeing some baby-faced boy have his head taken from his shoulders either. But these are the rules. And if the stakes weren't as high, everybody would join the party in hopes for treasure. And frankly, for some people, the pit offers a chance at something they wouldn't find elsewhere. A chance for a better life. But I don't think you, as a sun child, would understand. Huh. Alright. First of all, you'll need to sign this, though. If you can read and write, sign with your name. If not, with a cross. Thank you. Then we can start right away. And, one more thing. I always found this a bit silly, but the crowd always wants a name they can shout to the ring when you're bashing someone's head in. You know, the fighter, the butcher, stuff like that. So, what do you want? Prophet? Ah. Well, let's hope you're as good at fighting as you are at prophesizing. Fair enough. If you want, you can dive right into the ring. There'll be a pack fight in a couple of hours. Yeah. Also called Last Man Standing wins. 3 to 6 fighters in the ring. Dog eat dog. Well, that depends on the bets. So I can't tell you yet. But if you win, it'll be well worth it. Eager, aren't you? Good. Just go down to the training dummies. I'll call you when we begin.
Mesdames and messieurs, a cordial welcome to the Dust Pit. You know who I am, I know who you are, and above all, I know why you are here today. Because you want to see a fight! Today, there are 4 rookies in the ring, and they all share the same dream, to become the champion of the arena. Oh, can you see them shiver, the sweat glistening on their foreheads? They are afraid, and rightfully so, because they know only one of them will leave the pit on both legs. Mesdames and messieurs, I proudly present Kata Tanner's daughter, called the Storm. Simael Roth, called the Vagabond. And Tamas Shagar, also known as the Derwish. And last but not least, the unknown warrior who is only known by his moniker, the Prophet. Now, enough of the words. Fight!
If we don't get the money until tomorrow, there will be consequences. So handle it.
But... fine. I'll see what I can do.
Good go. Rhalata Shera. Well fought.
I'll fucking crush you.
Ah, you. Well fought. Really. Here's your share. Pardon my language, but none of your fucking business. Well, aren't you a piece of work? Still got blood and dust on your skin and already begging for the next battle. Come by in a couple of days and ask again, will you? I got things to take care of.
You can do this.
Ah, you've come at the right time. There's a fight soon, and you're the perfect candidate. 2 versus 1. Interested? The twins. 2 nasty, hairy beasts of men with even nastier axes. Yeah, I know the odds are against you, but what should I say? The crowd wants it, I deliver. What do you say? Oh yeah, but judging by how you fought, I think you stand a chance. Still, it'll be dangerous. So, what do you say? Bold words. All right, then go downstairs and warm up. I'll tell you when we're ready.
The twins against the mysterious warrior only known as the Prophet. It is a battle to the death, a battle about gold and blood. Now enough of the words. Time to give you what you've all been waiting for. Warriors, fight!
Ah, sure. Sorry. I was elsewhere. Here's your share. Well deduced, detective.
Bloody vermin, all of them.
His shadow tribute. which my esteemed father, who rediscovered his juvenile spite in his last years, refuses to pay. Which, in return, means that the nice guy who just paid me a visit will send us some of Rhalata's goons to either set fire to our establishment, or send my father onto the Eternal Paths a couple of years earlier, if I don't think of something.
Should have placed my money on the Eternal.
Oh, you have no idea how the wind blows down here, do you? Thanks for the offer, but no. Only an utter idiot would take on the Rhalata. Protection money. If you want to stay alive down here, you have to pay. 2 or 3 days, give or take. Oh, I know you'd love to jump right back in. But if we start doing battles every bloody minute, the crowd will lose interest. And money. Just swing by in a couple of days, alright? You'll get your fight. Look at that. You have a talent for showing up when you're needed. You know that? There's a fight coming up, and I want you to participate. Qalian. He's been fighting for a while now. A brute in heavy armor. With a couple of, how should I say, special techniques he picked up in his homeland, Erazil. I won't lie, he'll be a tough nut to crack. Aren't you eager? You know the drill. Go downstairs and warm up. The fight will take place in a couple of hours.
Well, you live and learn.
Mesdames and messieurs, a cordial welcome to the Dust Pit. You know who I am, I know who you are, and above all, I know why you are here today. Because you want to see a fight! Today, there is something special on the menu. Or should I say, something savage? Because this is a word that best describes the beast our still undefeated rookie must stand his ground against. Mesdames and messieurs, I present Qalian, the Berserker of the Steppes, versus the Prophet. Shed some blood, warriors!
Not bad. I have to hand it to you. You're really starting to impress me. I didn't think you'd stand a chance against old Gur. Kinda sad to see him gone, but he knew the risks. Here's your share. Come back in 2 days or so. What do you want? Ah, aye, we are. This time it'll be exciting. The Ringmaster plans to pair you with Raga Shadowclaw. No, but you will soon. She's an alchemist. Small tip from my side, don't let her tender appearance fool you. You'll see why. Aren't you eager? You know the drill. Go downstairs and warm up. The fight will take place in a couple of hours.
Mesdames and messieurs, a cordial welcome to the Dust Pit. You know who I am, I know who you are, and above all, I know why you are here today. Because you want to see a fight! This is the 4th battle of the mysterious newcomer called the Prophet. But will it also be the last? Because this time we picked a special treat for him to feast on. Mesdames and messieurs, you came for blood, and you shall have it. Not bad.
Look who's back. Not bad, not bad. I was expecting you to pee your pants after she did that little trick of hers. But no. You kept your cool as usual. Sure you don't want to start working as a mercenary? You could make more money that way. Either way, here's your pay. I had hoped you'd ask that. I do. And this time, you're in for a real challenge. No. If you're man enough, you'll fight the beast tonight. Aye, the pride of the pit. And the good thing about it, even if you hack it to shreds, all we need to do is give it some elixir and have our Necromancer stick it back together, and it's as good as new. I won't lie, though. It'll be hard this time, and chances are you won't make it out alive. If you do make it, though, it'll be worth your time. Something like that, aye. But let's not dwell on the details, shall we? Thought so. Well then.
Mesdames and messieurs, a cordial welcome to the Dust Pit. You know who I am, I know who you are, and above all, I know why you are here today. Because you want to see a fight! 4 battles, 4 victories. But can the Prophet also oppose the beast that's been soaking this soil in blood for decades? We shall see. Unleash the beast!
Let's see you dance, Prophet. Look out! Oh, come on. Good. That's enough. Let's talk. Fair enough. This is better. Forgive me my dramatic entrance. Come now, will you? I don't want to kill you, otherwise I'd have fought very differently. I'm Theronas, voice of the Father. I've been watching you for a while now because I'm looking for someone with your set of skills. And, our little encounter down in the pit erased the last doubts I had about you. That accent. You're an outlander, aren't you? Shit. Does that mean I have to explain who the Rhalata is to you? You've got guts, I'll give you that. The Rhalata is more than a bunch of criminals, though. But we'll get there. Regarding your original question, the voices are the military arm of the Rhalata. I'm sure you've seen some of us before. We come into play when a matter needs a strong hand to resolve itself. Indeed. Let me get straight to the point. I want to hire you for a mission. Well, you look like someone willing to slaughter other people in front of a gawking crowd for a handful of coins. At least that's what you did down there. But don't get me wrong, I don't judge. The pit fighters know what they're getting themselves into. But after what I saw you do down there, I concluded that you're willing to do a lot of things if the pay is right. Or am I wrong? Well then. Well, actually, it's simple. I want your help in killing someone. The father. Their leader, not mine. When I was 6 years old, the Rhalata abducted me and a dozen other children. That is, they bought us. Shagun, the old cunt who owned our orphanage, she sold us like cattle. Us, and over the years, at least a dozen more. And we all came from the same orphanage. The refuge. And no, I have no idea what they did to us. I remember nothing. Yes. Why? Probably because the father shoved an ingot of gold up her ass for every child she sold. But the flesh maggots got her a while ago, so she took her reasons to the grave with her. That's the big question, isn't it? At first I thought it was about child trafficking. You know, tender little knaves and girls for rich bastards. Ark's bigwigs. Yet now I've come to the conclusion that it must have been about science. Experiments. Only the father. As I said, I'm pretty sure you have the wrong idea about them. The Rhalata doesn't see itself as a guild of murderers, but as a faith, a sect, a cult, in other words. The blackmailing, the shadow tax, is how they finance the little community. That the physical body is the worst thing that ever happened to man. It's a hole that needs to transcend. But we digress. If we're to work together, you'll soon have some rogue cultists telling you all this shit anyway. Kind of. After the father was done with us, he simply disposed of our corpses. This is also the first memory I have of that time after the abduction. Waking up in a pile of dead bodies. I don't know exactly, but I must have been somewhere between 12 to 14 years old. Still half a child, in other words. As you can imagine, I was a mess for the first few moons after that. Once I was able to think somewhat straight again, I looked for help in the upper city. Of course, the guards didn't believe a word of what I said and sent me right back down into the caverns. Many things are horrible. Still they happen. No. And frankly, it doesn't surprise me. I'm sure hundreds of ragged kids from the Undercity had come to them before, telling them horror stories about how much they suffered down there, only to get a bed and some food. Also, as you may have figured out by now, the Order doesn't have any power down here. The Rhalata controls the caves, and that's how it will stay. Correct. Let's put it this way. I came to realize that no matter how much I cursed and cried, nobody would come to my help. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I told myself how to survive and how to fight. And years later, I entered the dust pit for the first time. One of the voices saw how well I could fight and offered me to study the Rhalata. Their codex, their holy scripture, written by the father himself. I shaved my head and became a scion, the lowest rank. "8 years ago. The father doesn't bother with most Relame, especially not with the scions. Also, when they discarded me, I was still a child. Now, I'm a man. Revenge. Yes. I want this monster to pay for what he did to me and the others. And I want to make sure that it will never hurt anyone again. Ever. One of the core beliefs of the Rhalata concerns the Day of Transcendence. It's the day when every Relame who's ever proven him or herself worthy leaves their body to continue existing as an immortal, immaterial being. And they also believe that this day is imminent, since the father found a way to achieve transcendence for himself and for his lambs. In the weeks to come, they will set out an expedition to the Frostcliff Mountains. Since this expedition will be an extremely dangerous undertaking, he will bring along almost a dozen of the best mercenaries available. You will be one of them, and together, we will kill the father. I'm telling you this because I need someone who knows how to kill. Better than the usual cutthroat you find down here. And you seem to be that someone. Also, there's something about you. I can't say what, but I feel as though you're the right person for the job. Let's leave it at that. Well, let's put it this way. I took precautions. If you don't have the guts to help me, your choice, but... believe me, if you do try to backstab me, you'll regret it. No. You either agree now, or the offer's off the table. I can't afford to lose any more time. Well, the Rhalata spent the last 2 years excavating an old temple that apparently was lost in the glacier for centuries. Now, according to the father, this is where we'll find the key to achieve transcendence, but that's about all I know. Well, I can pay you 400 pennies now, and 800 more once the father is dead. Also, think of all the riches that we'll find in the temple itself, or in the Rhalata's treasure chambers. It will be worth it. You can trust me on that. By doing something that impresses him. As you can imagine, the Rhalata already has its stock of sellswords they rely on. But if we do something that impresses the father or the first seer, it might be enough to convince him to hire you. Look, I know how shaky it sounds, but it's our best bet. So, are you with me or not? Good. Meet me at the Wailing Tree, 2 hours from now. Here. This'll help you get back to the Undercity in case you need to return to the surface before our meeting. Stay safe.
What a surprise. Didn't think I'd ever see you again. I don't want to know. If the Rhalata acts, you don't ask questions. That's the first rule you should hammer into your head down here. In other words, it's fine. The crowd was a bit disappointed, but technically, you won. Though, as I'm sure you understand, I can't pay you this time.
Should have placed my money on the Eterna.
How about never? Why? Because no pit fighter, no matter how powdered and glimmer-capped dust he is, will voluntarily fight a friend of the Rhalata. If he loses, he dies. If he wins, he dies too. Because the father's voice will come get him. And now come on, don't give me that look. You earned a shitload of money in a very short time. Maybe you can come back in a couple of moons or so, if the dust has settled. But until then, forget about it.
There you are. Ready? What do you think? Because we don't want to draw any attention. If somebody sees me walking around with you, it won't be the end of the world, but I don't want to cause unnecessary problems. Tree. Oh, yeah, sure. The people down here call it the Weeping Tree. They believe that the Black Guardian, once a year, fulfills one of the wishes they write onto these notes. Superstitious nonsense, of course. They might as well send their wishes to the Blue Island Coalition. Either way, ready to set out? First a question. Have you ever heard of the Night of the Blind Daughters? A massacre that took place 20 years ago. It was at the farmer's coast, around midsummer. The farmers had just put out the lights after a long day's work. Suddenly, shrouded figures showed up out of nowhere, with steel masks covering their faces. They broke into the houses and killed anybody who dared to stand in their way. While they merely wreaked havoc on most of the farms, any family with a daughter between 12 and 16 winters was less lucky. All in all, these masked people took 10 daughters that night and carried them away. They were found 1 week later. They lay on the Penny Road, mutilated with their eyes sewn shut. 1 girl each mile. They tried, but the few farm boys who were there in time stood no chance. These masked attackers were assassins, as deadly as the petrified and as brutal as lost ones. To this very day, no one knows. However, there are theories. Do the names the Black Libra and J.L. Tannerson ring a bell? The Butcher of Ark? Yes. Thing is, in this book he left behind, Tannerson claims to have been part of a cult called the Black Libra. Even nowadays, there are still scholars that deny its existence. But according to Tannerson, they see themselves as some kind of counterbalancing power. They make sure that malice and sin, they don't gain the upper hand in this world, and that the scales of good and evil thus stay in balance. Well, this is where it gets bizarre. Normally, the Libra only kills people who have already sinned. Tyrants, rapists, murderers, and so on. Which is also why the attack on the farmer's coast didn't make any sense, and still doesn't for most people today. However, the father has a theory. Well, he does have an avid interest in them. Let's put it this way. He has dug up every little bit of information that there is. But we'll come to that later. According to the father, the Black Libra chooses their sinners through the dreams of some kind of holy child. The dreams are interpreted by the Libra's priests who extract the names and faces of evildoers from them. However, the child doesn't just see people who have already sinned. She also sees evil in its inception. Thus, the Libra might decide to kill a boy before he becomes a tyrant, or a girl before she gives birth to a murderer. I know, it sounds insane, but that's what it is. But apparently the Libra fully believes in this principle. The child is omniscient. Yes. So it would seem, though according to the father, they wouldn't have just been ordinary murderers, but emissaries of the end. Whatever that may mean. Simple. The father believes that the Black Libra knows the secret to transcendence. This is why he's been studying Tannerson's books like a madman. Especially one in particular, in which he describes the initiation ritual he underwent to become one of their assassins. And I also think that this temple in the Frostcliff Mountains is somehow related to the Libra. Long story short, apparently the pages of Tannerson's original manuscript describing the initiation ritual in detail were forcefully torn out, and the father wants to find them. Right. And I happen to know the only person who might be able to tell us their whereabouts. A man named Qalian. He was also an assassin of the Libra, and Tannerson's mentor. In other words, an unscrupulous piece of shit that did nothing but murder people for decades, guilty, the innocent alike. According to the father, he was also the one who orchestrated the Night of the Blind Daughters. However, that massacre seems to have been too much even for his rotten conscience to bear, because he left the Libra shortly thereafter. He took on a new identity. He's been living as a beggar in the Undercity ever since. I saw him once. It's no wonder that nobody knows what kind of monster he is. He's gone completely insane. Drinks away every penny he gets his hands on. Maybe, yes. I have my sources. Let's leave it at that. Exactly. If we bring them to the First Seer and I tell him how I couldn't have done it without you, he might consider hiring you for the expedition. That's the plan. It's not the best one, certainly, but, all we're getting. Then we'll need to improvise. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that. He currently lives in the communes. That is, if he isn't in some horse bed in the Silver Cloud right now or getting hammered in the False Dark. I'll let you do the talking. It's unlikely that the First Seer will find out, but the more you actually help me on this mission, the more convincing our little story will be. One more thing. Don't go easy on that scum. He might seem harmless now, but remember what he's done. And remember that those 10 mutilated girls on the Penny Road are just one more page in this man's book of sins. Interesting. Never mind. Look at him. Pissed like a rat. A miracle he could even get it up. I sure as fuck don't want you to cuddle with him. And again, never forget what this man did. He may look pathetic, but that doesn't change the fact that he orchestrated the murder of 10 girls. Innocent girls.
Yeah, who are you? Nylock is tired. Nylock needs sleep. Qalian? No. Qalian is dead. You're talking to Nylock, his shadow. Why do you ask? Who are you? Oh, of course. Nylock understands. You remind him of Qalian when he still lived. So much anger in you, so much hatred. Qalian knew this feeling too well. This anger, this cold, rotten wrath. And then the dream came and showed him his calling. But he was so blind, he didn't see where the road led him. Only when those little flowers' corpses lay dead in the dust did he see what he had done, what he had become. Now Qalian has been punished. He's dead, and Nylock deserves to suffer for eternity. Regret? No, Qalian had regrets, yes, but Nylock isn't worthy of these feelings anymore. Regret is a pure feeling, as is absolution, but Nylock doesn't deserve purity. So he hates himself, hates his pathetic existence, hates himself for all the suffering his old skin brought upon the world. Why? Because the decrees demanded it, and the decrees don't lie. They never did, and they never will. Aren't you listening? The decrees don't lie. Those little flowers had to die, because if they had not, something terrible would have happened. Qalian knew, Nylock still knows, but still, it broke him. All their pain, their tears, their suffering, their screams. It was too much to bear, even for him. The decrees never lie. I told you! Because Nylok buried his old skin. The Libra doesn't care about Nylok. Why should they? He's vermin. Pages? Nylok doesn't know what you mean. Now please, go. Nylok is tired and needs to sleep.
All right. Let me rephrase my friend's words. You stop playing confused oracle and fucking tell us what we want to know now. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll let you live. Are we clear?
But Nylok just...
Are we clear?
Yes, sir. Nylok understands. Please forgive him. So, the pages. Yes, of course, the pages. Nylok remembers. Qalian tore them from Tannerson's book before the world could see them. No! I told you! I told you! So why are you not listening? Qalian is dead! Don't you understand? He's dead, and Nylok buried him! Oh, no, he's sorry. Please don't hurt him. He will not raise his voice again.
Look at him. He's gone completely insane. I'm guessing all this Nylok talk is a way for his brain to cope with the guilt. He's created a new persona without all the blood on his hands. That is, unless he's lying.
What? Why? Why should Nylok lie? What? Why? Why should Nylok lie? Yes, of course. But tell me, what do you want with them? You won't be able to read them. Nylok doesn't have a choice, does he? All right, he will do as you demand. The pages, he buried them together with his old skin. He can show you the pages. But tell him, my sir, if he shows you the pages, could you... Well, Nylok is hungry, Nylok is thirsty, and he has no more coin. But... Good. Nylok understands. And maybe you're right. You treat him like what he is. Vermin. Human waste. Come, follow.
This is the way to the tar pit. Are you sure that's where we're supposed to be going? I warn you, if this is a trap...
It's not, my sir. Nylok is vermin, but he knows when he has to obey. You can trust him.
I won't. But fine.
Yellow coats invading this country. Free peoples of men. I'm guessing for once those surface snobs are wishing for the safety of these caves.
Damn the order.
Hold it right there, old man. Where do you think you're going? You're a little too old for digging.
He belongs to us. We're acting under the Father's orders.
Brother Wrath, from ashes to blood, from blood to liberation. I didn't recognize you. Forgive me.
From ashes to blood, from blood to liberation. Let us through.
Of course. Father's blessings.
Father's blessings. Keep going, scum.
Yes, of course.
The deserted tunnels. We should be wary. There are a lot of lowlifes down here.
back there. That's where he buried his old skin. Please, my sir. You need to just take these last few steps alone. Naylock can't. He just can't.
Is this a trap?
What? No, of course not. It's just... Naylock can't. Don't you understand? To see him after all this time. No, kill Naylock if you don't believe him, but he will stay.
Fine. You go on ahead.
Look for the skeleton. You need to dig.
Don't shout. Look out!
Just a scratch.
You will pay for that! You could do better than that. Skeleton? I'm not seeing anything. Let's look around. Let me see. Yeah. Well, that looks promising. Then I guess we need to dig. Come help me. Here we go. This must be it. Pretty big. What the blazes did he put in there? What's that smell? What the? Oh, shit! You mean this body is... Nonsense. You want to know what I think? This is probably some poor sod that crossed this lunatic's path at the wrong time. So we put him right into the crate with the pages. Bloody son of a whore. Well, fuck if I know. We're talking about a man who murdered 10 girls in cold blood because his cult ordered him to do it. I think you'd be well advised to stop trying to apply logic to his thinking. Right you are. Come on, you take them. Got them? All right, back to Qalian. Get up, scum.
My sir. You found what you were looking for, didn't you? He can tell by your eyes.
We found the pages and something else. Whose corpse is in that chest?
What? But he told you, didn't he? It's Qalian. Naylock buried him. Yes. He said it before, didn't he? Qalian couldn't continue to live in this shell after what he did, so he shed it and gave birth to Naylock. And Naylock buried him, together with the memories. You don't believe him, do you? You believe Naylock is lying. But it's the truth, the simple truth. You two, more than anyone else, should understand.
Sure. Either way, we have what we wanted. And now it's time for you to pay for your crimes, Qalian. It's been long overdue.
What? But you said that you would spare him if he'd show you the pages.
We said that we would think about it. And guess what? I did. You're a murderer, Qalian, and you've killed more people than I can count. Men, women, and children. And you know what? This whole act about how remorseful you are, I'm not buying it. Yes, you drank your bloody brains into oblivion, but ultimately, the only one you truly pity is yourself. Yes. Any last words?
Letho,
What?
Nalok remembers. By the name of the sun, you were in the refuge orphanage, you and your friend, Letho.
What do you know about the refuge?
Back then, before the flesh maggot plague, when Nalok was still strong, the Kyranian woman who ran the orphanage gave him work. Don't you remember? He carried crates, he cleaned the floor, he cooked.
That was you. Uncle Nalak?
Yes, that's what you called him, Uncle Nalok. By the Guardians, it's been so long, but he remembers it all now. You and your friend, you were inseparable. Until...
You're right. I do remember.
What?
You were there when they took us. Worse, you helped them. What did she pay you, that old cunt? Huh? Carrying crates? Selling children to the Rhalata? All the same, isn't it?
No, what? Nalok doesn't understand. He only...
Let's go. Yeah. His face seemed familiar, but I just couldn't place him. Yeah. We called him Uncle Nalak. Shagun, the matron, gave him work as a gopher. Wasn't as much of a wreck back then. Can you believe it? A former serial killer working in an orphanage. Apparently the old cunt liked to surround herself with people as rotten as she was. Well, as I said, we're done here. Next we need to bring the pages to the first seer, which will, hopefully, encourage him to consider you as a mercenary for the expedition. But we'll see. Before we do that, though, we need to discuss a couple of things. We cannot afford a single mistake if we want this to work. Meet me in my hideout tomorrow morning, alright? There's a small abandoned warehouse in the main cabin, right before the path up to the city. There's an old poster of the theater right next to the door. That's how you recognize it. The dark corners of our minds. Until then, and good work.